So hi everyone, doing something today that most people don't get to do, and that's driving to Cambodia. But today I'm going to show you how you can take your Thai car across the border into Cambodia. I'm on the way myself to Angkor Wat, so I'm going to do a little mini weekend tour of Angkor Wat. So just as a bit of background, between Bangkok and Siem Reap, it's about 380 kilometers or thereabouts, and it's actually not a huge distance for a driving trip. What the issue has always been is that the most direct route from Bangkok to Siem Reap via the border at Phoi Phet has always traditionally been closed to Thai vehicles. Now, if you go on the internet, there's lots and lots of conspiracy theories, or maybe they weren't conspiracy theories, about why you couldn't take Thai cars in at Phoi Phet. You could always take it in at other places. So down south in Trat province, or up north in Surin, there was a couple of border crossings there that would allow Thai cars to enter. But the most direct route from Bangkok to Siem Reap, 380 kilometers, has always been off limits to Thai vehicles. Now, I've gone online just recently, and there's a couple of Thai vloggers who have taken their Thai cars across really just successfully, really easily. So today I'm off to run in the Angkor Wat half marathon, which is this coming Sunday. And I thought, well, rather than fly, because tickets to fly to Siem Reap at this time of year, run traditionally around $400, $500. I was like, well, let's see what I can do in my own car and a tank of petrol. Now, there's a couple of things that you need to understand about driving across into Cambodia. Firstly, there's no real formal agreement between Thailand and Cambodia to take personal vehicles over. Commercial vehicles, there is agreements, but personal vehicles are not. You can take your cars into other countries, Laos, Malaysia, Singapore. Thailand's got agreements with all these countries. And that means that with these agreements, there's formal agreements around insurance, how to buy insurance, things like that. But between Thailand and Cambodia, there traditionally hasn't been. That seems to have changed in the past year or so across 2023. Previous to that, if you drove your car into Cambodia, you were uninsured, and there was no real formal paperwork process to do so. That seems to have changed. Cambodia's customs department has now got an online system where you can register a foreign vehicle for temporary entry. That's pretty easy. I'll show you how to do that in 1 second. Once you've registered your car online, in theory, the Cambodian authorities at the border have it all registered there. They can just issue the paperwork, the temporary importation forms, and off you go. So there's 3 things you need to take your car outside Thailand and to bring it back in. First, obviously, is your passport. And if you need a visa for Cambodia, get one online, because that saves a lot of time and hassle at the border. Second thing you need is your car blue booklet, blue ownership document. And the third thing you need are customs forms, which I'll upload on the website for you to download. The blue booklet's pretty important because that shows your ownership of the vehicle, but it also shows it's not under finance. One of the unfortunate things about driving Thai cars across the border is you basically need to own it outright. If you don't have the blue booklet, or your car's under finance, the finance company will hold on to the blue booklet and they won't release it to you, or they'll be very reluctant to release it to you for trips across the border. The third thing is the customs forms. The customs forms the Thai authorities won't let your car be taken across the border unless you filled in the temporary export forms. But the temporary export forms are also needed for when you come back in, to show that the car is actually a registered Thai vehicle, and that you don't owe any duty on bringing it in. So at the border now, I've got my blue book, forms to process the car out of Thailand, copy of my passport. Let's go see what happens. We are at the Klong Lip border post. Behind me you can see Cambodia, just on the other side there. Just behind me, some guys getting some paperwork done for me. And then just waiting to see, get my passport stamped out, my car processed, and then we can drive over to the other side. So just going across the border now, hopefully. Paperwork's all done. It's a bit of a palaver. All the paperwork that I prepared, they wanted me to redo. They just do it their own way here. It's not a big deal. So my advice is, if you turn up here, just bring copies of your paperwork, but the actual forms, just let them give them to you and they'll give you an example of how to fill it in. So just crossing over, going past Thai customs one more time. ไปได้ใช่ไหมครับเรียบร้อยทิ้งแล้วซับแล้วโอเคได้ไปได้แล้วใช่ไหมโอเคครับขอบคุณครับ So just going through now. So as you can see, I was just at this under the big yak, the Garuda here, Raja Anatak Thai sign, and just doing the paperwork there. The guy's just coming to check me. สวัสดีครับเรียบร้อยที่ทำเมื่อกี้ครับใช่ขอบคุณครับสวัสดีครับ So just coming over now. So finally leaving Thailand. It took a little bit longer than I thought, but that's just sometimes the way it is when you're crossing borders. The paperwork is, it's the same stuff that I told you about, but they just want it done in their own form. So they give you duplicates of everything. So now, just last bit of Thailand, driving on the left and going over the Thai-Cambodia Friendship Bridge, which was built by the British a while back. You can see the Thai side's got Thai flags on it, and then the Cambodian side's got Cambodian flags on it. So you can see the flags there. Yeah, I'm in Thailand, and crossed over into Cambodia now, which means I have to drive on the other side of the road now. So we're going over. So that's going to be fun, driving on the other side of the road, but that's where my friend's going to come in and help. And based on the videos I've seen before, I come up to the border checkpoint here and I park my car just here and then go do the passport and paperwork. And hopefully, because I'm already in the Cambodian system, this won't take too long, but it's just never guaranteed, this kind of stuff, is it? So once you cross the border, you come over here, you see the international border checkpoint and park your car on the right here. The driver should go through, see on the bottom green it says foreigner passport, that's where you go. And you go take your customs documents there to the office, which is through the door. You go through the hallway and then it's just right down the back there on the right. So through, past a guy in the glass, past the boom gates, and there's a customs hall there. You give him the paperwork. He'll want lots of copies of your Thai registration form, photos of your car, your Thai driver's license. Just out the front of the customs and excise building on the Cambodian side. It's actually on the ground floor. What you do is you go up, when you park your car, you go up, get your passport stamped, or you can maybe do that second, but actually come to the customs and excise guys and hand over your paperwork. It takes a little bit of time for them to process it. Even though I'd registered my car in the system, the guy told me that he had to send it off for approval. Where that gets approved, I don't know. It kind of it means you're sitting around here waiting a little bit. Now that didn't have to happen when I went through up north. It's Chom Chom and Osamek, so this is quite new to me, but you know, it is what it is, it's part of the journey. So far I've probably spent like an hour and a half at the border on both sides. As I said, the Thai side were just a bit slow, wanting their own version of the paperwork, which I'd filled out before. Other times I'd cross the border at other places, it was really fast, I'd filled it in, it was just bang, 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 out on the Thai side. Cambodian side was a little bit slower, but this time it seems the other way around. The Cambodian customs guys seems really official, really helpful. So that was done. Customs and excise, got my paperwork done, all sorted. What they did was they registered my details, or my car's details on the system. What then happens is they take the simplified customs declaration that Thailand gives you, and in exchange for their importation documents, they then they take the Thai document, they give you the Cambodian document, and on the way out, you then, and then on the way out, you basically get it returned and to give back to the Thai side when you come through. So it looks like I'm all done now, so that's really, really good. Super happy about that. Just walking back to the car now, and now I'm pretty sure I'm good to drive my car, this one here, into Cambodia. Turns out it wasn't the end of the story. Had to come to this little window here just behind me, and the guy's going to issue me with basically a pass for my car, which just shows, I guess it's an identification card for the car. But that's all good. He took my photo, went off and took some pictures of my car, and now he's just printing up a paper form and just laminating it for me, and then hopefully that'll be the end of it. So last thing they did was give me one of these. It's a card which identifies my car. It's paid 200 baht for it. I think the guy just charged me because he was a bit annoyed that I was making some videos. He took my phone away, deleted the videos, which was, I guess, like, well, there was no sign saying right there that I couldn't make a video, but I guess he got a bit annoyed with me, so he charged me 200 baht, but you know, it is what it is. And now we're about to drive through the border, the final check stop, and hopefully this guy just opens up the boom gate for me. Oven. Yeah, so he was not happy with me, but his boss was fine. His boss was like, totally, okay, delete the photos, but he was just a bit annoyed. But I think his boss was saying, well, did you get any photos of you? It's like, no, it's just showing around, but I think he was just to be annoyed with me. He took some photos away. So now I'm driving through and I'm totally on the wrong side of the road, but I'm gonna go meet my friend now. So pulling up on the Cambodian side was really good. As long as it took to get into Cambodia, which was about an hour to process the paperwork, it was really simple coming out. You go to the same booth that you dealt with because they're holding on to your Thai export forms for safekeeping. I don't know why they do it, but they do it. Come back and hand over your Cambodian temporary import forms. They hand you back your Thai export forms, and that's that. You go through Cambodian immigration, which is upstairs, and then you're done on the Cambodian side, and then you just basically drive out of Cambodia over the little Friendship Bridge and then back into Thailand. On the Thai side, it's extremely simple as well for the car. Now you just pull up to the Thai immigration booth for the cars on the ground, on the road level, and they will take your passport, export and import documents, stamp your passport back in, and tell you to go to the customs desk, which is 30 meters further on, and return your customs forms there. The issue is that only the driver is allowed to use that particular immigration booth. So if you've got any passengers, particularly if you've got non-Thai citizen passengers, they'll have to go into the Thai immigration hall, go upstairs, use the foreigners line, which is normally filled at that point with a lot of travelers, backpackers, but a lot of Cambodians as well traveling through. And for my passengers, who are all Dutch, even though they've got valid work permits and visas and everything in Thailand, they managed to have to wait about an hour. And in what actually was worse was in the case of two of the girls who was traveling with us. They're in another car now driving back to Bangkok. They realized that they hadn't been stamped out of Cambodia. So Thai immigration made them go back to the Cambodian departure hall to get stamped back out. Now, for those of you who are thinking that, didn't you go through Cambodian departures? We did, but they unfortunately did not have their e-visa printed out on a piece of paper. So the Cambodian officials pulled them aside and said for the small price of $3 they would gladly reprint out the e-visa for them to process them out of Cambodia, which they paid $3 each for, and it was fine, or so they thought. What they didn't realize was, though the Cambodians had printed out the e-visa copy to show the departures immigration on the Cambodian side, they actually didn't get stamped out. So when they got to the Thai side, Thai immigration goes, you didn't get stamped out of Cambodia, go back. So they had to go back, get stamped out of Cambodia. Fortunately, the Cambodians weren't asking for any more service fees for their immigration services. They got stamped out pretty quickly. And fortunately, they got to come back to the Thai side, went straight to the top of the queue, and got stamped out pretty quickly. But they'd been waiting in line for at least an hour beforehand. I've been through the Thai side immigration using a Thai passport. That's always super quick. So if you're traveling with Thai citizens, it's not a long wait normally, but if you are with foreign passengers in your car, be prepared that even though leaving Cambodia can be quite quick, entry on the Thai side might delay you. Now, I guess the big question, the $1 million question is it worth doing the trip overland? And I mean, in the intro I talked about, it's worth it if you're traveling with a bunch of people to save money. So that's a big tick in the box for doing the overland trip. We left Siem Reap on the way back at about, we left quite late actually, about midday, got to the border about 2 hours later, but we were at the border for at least 2 hours again. So going both ways, you know, you can figure out your own journey from wherever you're beginning from to Phoi Phet, and then from Phoi Phet to Siem Reap, and those times are pretty accurate, but it's the border time, processing time, which, you know, may put you off. But if you're traveling with a bunch of people, you're not in a rush, and you're looking to save a bit of money, it's worth it. Now, the next question is, even though Siem Reap to Bangkok and Bangkok to Siem Reap, the fastest route is via Phoi Phet, would I do that route again? It's a good question. I haven't thought about it. It's the most direct, but is it the most scenic? Is it the most pleasant? Perhaps not. I mean, I've driven up through Surin multiple times via the Osamek border and then down into Siem Reap that way. Thinking about it, it's actually a more pleasant journey. You stop over in Surin for the evening, and then you head down into Cambodia the next day, and it's only a 2.5 hour drive from that border as well. So it's nice to sort of do a road trip that way where you're not rushed in the whole day. I guess the reason why I'm rushing is because purely and simply it's not a long weekend. So while I managed to take my Friday off, I need to be back in Bangkok by Sunday night for work on Monday morning, and my wife needs the car, and the kids need to get to school, and all of this kind of stuff. So from that perspective, we just needed to finish the half marathon this morning and drive straight back. So I'll be a bit tired by the time I get home to Bangkok tonight. Left at 11, probably won't get back home till about 8 p.m. I think at this rate. That's okay. I'll be a bit tired. I'll sleep really well. It's a longer day than I envisaged. I think if it was just me driving by myself, and whether you're Thai or foreign for that, if you're driving by yourself, it can actually be quite quick because you're not relying on other people to go through various different queues, and that will add time to the trip. So I think the best way to do it is to break up your trip into a few days, make it as a road trip, which is, you know, you get a bit of interest out of. Make it a road trip where, you know, you can stop at a few places, see a few things, and you're not rushing to get over the border. But in terms of the most direct route, Phoi Phet is definitely the most direct route. The good news now is that it's open, and I guess that's the most important thing out of this video, that the most direct route between Bangkok and Angkor Wat, which has been closed pretty much to Thai vehicles for at least 20 years as far as I know, is now open, and you can travel it. So from that perspective, I think it's a good route to take, but I do quite like the route that takes you a little bit further north into more rural parts of Thailand, and then through northern Cambodia, which is it's scenic in its own right. But yeah, I think that's about it. So look, I hope you enjoyed the video. I don't make many of these things. I don't make any of these things really. So hopefully I haven't been too boring. I hope this has been of interest for you. I hope that it gives you some encouragement to do travel via land. I might make another video in a few months, hopefully driving down to Singapore, and I'll show you how to do that. But until then, enjoy, happy travels, and hopefully I'll see you next time. I'll see you later.